Hey, it's Denise. This is kind of a new topic for me to be covering, and that is decluttering. My house, where I've lived for about 7 years now, has become so cluttered. Yes, I absolutely take responsibility for my part in that. I have not been proactive enough in keeping things, you know, cleaned out, cleared out. There's also just a physical layout of the place. There are no closets. There's no hall closet, coat closet. There's no linen closet. There's no bathroom closet. Um, Out of the four so-called bedrooms, only two of them have closets, and they're like afterthought, small little closets that look like they were added at some point. So the storage space in this apartment has been lacking from day one. Add to that my initial friend slash roommate that I moved in with for the first 2 years was a major hoarder. Was someone who would go to the dump to get rid of the trash and would come home with more stuff than they left with because like old electronics and stuff are there, and he would end up going through it and being like, oh, I can make something with this. Oh, I could use that. This still works. That could be fixed. Yada, yada, yada. And he would come home with a carload of stuff when he left with just a few garbage bags to get rid of. Then my ex-boyfriend of 4 years was just as bad. And when he moved out, he was supposed to, prior to moving out, because he had like a good period of time between us knowing the relationship was over and him actually physically leaving, he was supposed to have taken care of clearing out anything that he had helped acquire, and basically the one of the bedrooms we don't use ended up just becoming this catch-all storage room, which then lost all semblance of order or organization, and it just became like, a peek into one of those hoarder shows. I mean, minus like the rats and roaches and stuff. We're not talking that kind of level of anything, but definitely just too much stuff just piled to the point that you're not even going to use it because you can't even find it. So he was supposed to have taken care of any aspect of that was his before he left. He had plenty of time to do so, but he didn't. In the end, what I realized was he basically only packed the stuff that he wanted that was valuable to him, and he left the rest for me to deal with. No. That's wrong on a couple levels. First of all, I'm disabled. I had a spinal cord injury, as I openly speak about. My balance is terrible. My strength is not what it used to be. And it is just really physically difficult for me to try to now have like this. It would be like having to clean out like a garage-sized storage locker that someone just didn't give a hell damn, fill in your favorite expletive. They did not care how they just threw stuff in there, and then they just left it, and now you have to go clean it out. Physically, it will take me much longer than it would take the average person because my balance is not good, my strength is not good. I have to be really careful. Falling is reality for me. I do lose my balance and I do fall. Now, when you're standing next to a wall or regular furniture that isn't piled in stuff, you always kind of have something to lean on. But when you're trying to clean up an odd pile of just stuff that someone left, it's easy to end up falling into that pile or onto that pile. So not only is it more difficult for me to do, but I'm more likely to get hurt while trying to do it. So I don't appreciate that it was left for me. Add to that where I live, you have to get your garbage bagged up, which means I can't carry heavy bags, so it'll be 10,000 small bags to make them manageable for me, to get them into the car and to the dump. Luckily, my son will help me with that on the weekends in terms of actually lugging the bags out to the car, going to dump with me, where you then have to put them on the scale. And now here's the really fun part. You have to pay by the pound to get rid of the garbage. So not only am I having to take a whole lot of time, like I said, much longer than it would take a fully able-bodied person, I'm having to risk injuring myself, and I'm having to spend money that I don't have, paying to get rid of someone else's garbage. And I've let kind of my unhappiness with the situation let me procrastinate and kind of just put my head in the sand and just like shut the door and not deal with that room. This month I'm taking care of that. I'm not letting it sit there and just weigh on my mind. I want to try to be active and make February the month that I get that as dealt with as possible. Then I also want to aim for, I'm going to say February and March to set a realistic goal. I want to look at the stuff of mine that I've let over accumulate downstairs. Now, this would be stuff that ranges from some of the products you see that I get, that I review in various subscription boxes. A lot of that stuff I give away as gifts, but sometimes I'll be like, oh, I really like those, whatever, coffee mugs, mittens, blanket, whatever. And I'll be like, yeah, I would use that. I really like it. And I paid for it, so I keep it. And at the end of the day, though, when I look around and I think about the fact that I really need to, for my own peace of mind, I really need to downsize my physical belongings. So I need to look at where can I donate these items, where they'd be most useful and appreciated, and not necessarily hold on to so many of them. I need to get my belongings down to the necessary, and then those few things that really do bring me joy. I'm not someone, obviously, who, lives like a, absolute monk, or, I'm not taking vows of poverty. I'm already broke. I don't need to take a vow of poverty. But I don't, I don't need austerity. I just need I need to be rid of the clutter and the visual disorder and chaos that makes me nuts. So I need to look at each thing as I'm going through an area to declutter, and I need to decide, does owning this thing make you happier? Is life better because you own this thing? And I think if I'm using that as the criteria, it makes it a lot easier to throw stuff out or decide to donate it, depending on what it is. Certain things, like if you've seen, I've reviewed AeroGardens. I love my AeroGardens. If I had to choose, I would keep my AeroGardens over most of my furniture because they bring me happiness. I love being able to grow plants inside, particularly because I live in a cold area with a short outdoor growing season. And also, with the physical limitations that I have, I can't do a lot of the harder, heavy lifting manual part of outdoor gardening. So for me, AeroGardens are a way to stay in touch with my garden-loving nature, but do it on a smaller scale and do it indoors, minus most of the physical heavy work. Yes, you do have to maintain them, and after each set of plants, you really want to take your AeroGardens apart and give them a thorough cleaning. But they're just an example of like a physical possession that, yes, I would definitely want to keep because I do get joy from having them and using them. Then, of course, there's things like family photo albums. They take up space, but I'm not going to get rid of family photo albums. I lost almost, I lost almost every single personal possession when my house burnt down in 2012. So to me, those type of items, anything that, you know, anything I have that belonged to, say, my grandparents, or was a gift from someone I cared about, or was something that my children made when they were young, that type of stuff you learn that's the priceless stuff. Not necessarily the things that you paid money for, but the things that you can't replace. And so those kind of things, I need to find a way to organize them in a way that I can keep them, but that they're not taking up as much space as they're currently taking up. And then today I woke up and couldn't sleep and decided, all right, let's take a few minutes and do something useful with it. You can't fall back to sleep. It's 5 a.m. What are you going to do for a few minutes? And what I did is I went to my email, which talk about clutter. I recently crossed the 100,000 emails threshold mark, whichever word. So I have over 100,000 emails, most of which are unread because they're junk, and I need to delete them. So the place to start, I figured at 5 o'clock, was by going through the last 48 hours worth of emails and unsubscribing from a bunch of email lists that I just don't need to be getting emails from. I mean, nothing against them, but shoes.com. I don't need to be getting emails from them. Costco. I don't even belong to Costco. Why are they sending me emails? Things like that. So I took myself off at least a dozen email lists, which I figure is its own form of decluttering because it makes it manageable to actually get through the emails on a daily basis and have the time to delete them instead of just scrolling through looking for what's important and ignoring the rest of them, which is how you end up with over 100,000 emails on your computer. So, yeah, it was a small step, but at the same time, it felt like a good first step to just say, okay, it's not even a physical thing, it's a virtual thing, but I'm going to start decluttering how much email I get and really paring it down to those stores and vendors whose products are a good value, who I like to purchase from, and who I don't mind getting an email from once in a while. I also, most of them do have the option of either unsubscribing completely or cutting it down to that you only want to get one email a week or a month versus the daily or sometimes even more than daily emails that they send you. Hello, anybody ever find yourself on Reader's Digest list? Oh my God, multiple times a day they send you emails. So yep, got myself off that one. And I'm just going to kind of share with you as I go along what goals I'm trying to work on, what I'm making progress on, and I'm going to be honest and hold myself accountable as far as what things I'm not making as much progress on as I would like to, or is that maybe I thought when I made the goal that I should be able to, if it turns out that I'm not making as much progress as I thought I would. Looking at either, am I just procrastinating? Did other things come up? Because it seems, you might have the greatest plans for what you're going to get done in a day, and we all have had those days where, you have it laid out. I've got a to-do list of 5 things, and I'm going to get them done today. But then life happens and the dog gets sick, or, you know, your kid needs to be picked up from school early, or in the case of someone like myself with health problems, you have the best laid plans for today, but then you wake up with a migraine, or, you know, something happens and you just don't get to the stuff that you planned on getting to, or you don't get to, you know, or you only get to half of it. So today I can already tell you I have an 8:30 appointment at the mechanic to get my new car. And I feel funny every time I call it my new car. My new car is 25 years old, but it's new to me, so that's why I call it my new car. I love it. Anyway, I've had it. I've had it for a week now, and I'm taking it to get to the mechanic, my mechanic who I like to use, just to get it checked out, checked over. And, you know, my theory is if we have any small problems, let's take care of them while they're still small problems. And so I have an appointment for that at 8:30 this morning. Where I live, like, Uber isn't really a thing. I've only successfully used it once, and most of the time if you try to use the Uber app here, you just get told there are no cars available. So dropping my car off at the mechanic means basically sitting there for possibly half the day, because I don't have a ride back home. Like if I lived in civilization, or knew more people up here that I could get a ride from, or it wasn't so far, you know, you would drop your car and then go home and get your stuff done and wait to hear from the mechanic. Well, I don't really have that option because I don't have a way to get home and then get back to my car, which means when me and my car get there at 8:30, I'll pretty much be stuck in their waiting room. Could be till the middle of the day. Could be later if there's something that they actually can get the parts in and fix. So while I went to bed last night with multiple plans of what I wanted to get done today, I forgot about the fact that I'll be spending possibly a good portion of today just sitting in the waiting room at the mechanic. So I'm going to maybe be spending more time working on a list and kind of breaking down the tasks I want to get done, as opposed to working on the tasks that I thought I'd be working on today. And that's kind of it. I'm going to try to look at what needs to get done, because there's a lot, and I'm going to try to break it down into doable little steps. And when all else fails, I'm going to just say, hey, you're going to spend, 30 minutes today decluttering, even if that gets broken down into 3 10-minute declutterings. And if it's one of those bad days, either migraine-wise or body pain-wise, if I can't do it, I can't do it. But if it's a day I can do it, I want to hold myself accountable to doing it. Even if it is, like I said, even if it's just a small thing, even if it's continuing to, go through the email and make sure I'm getting myself removed from more email lists. Even if it's going through one pile of papers and figuring out what needs to be kept and what can be thrown away. So, clearing out one junk drawer, any small thing I'm going to consider worth doing, and kind of trying to take as much of a detached approach as I can to stuff. Like I said, I'm going to really look at everything with, is it useful and practical, that I need it? If I got rid of it, would I just have to run out and spend the money to replace it? In which case it doesn't make sense to get rid of it. Or is it something that owning it truly makes me happy, brings me joy? And if it really doesn't fit into either of those categories, then why do I have it? Is it something that I'm planning on giving to someone else? If so, I need to just recognize that I can only allot so much space for that kind of thing, and otherwise, I can donate it. And I thought that's something else that can be a gift, is making a donation in someone's name and letting them get the thank you card for the donation that was made in their name. So I'm going to be taking the next 2 months and really trying to focus on decluttering. Might it take me longer than 2 months? It probably will. But I feel like in 2 months I can make a big difference, especially, like I said, for the actual heavy lifting, which I can't do. My son will help me with stuff like that, carrying things out to the car, helping me on the days I actually go to the dump, because you have to bring the stuff from the car onto, then place it onto the scale where they weigh it, so that they can charge you by the pound for everything that you're throwing out. It definitely becomes worth it to sort it into stuff that's donatable, not only because it's the right thing to do if the item is useful to someone else, but you get rid of it for free then, instead of paying by the pound to throw out something that is still useful and somebody else might need. So that's sort of my new goal that I'm going to be sharing with you, along with the other type of like product reviews that I do, and my canning and cooking activities, which I had did some fun stuff over the weekend. I'm going to I took some footage on my phone that I'm going to try desperately to put together into a video. I am trying to work on these editing skills that I sorely lack, but I did take a bunch of just short little clips of footage of what I was doing over the weekend, and I'm going to try to put them together into something that makes some kind of sense so that I can share them with you. But then I also want to start sharing this sort of journey from letting part of your apartment turn into like hoarder haven. Again, we're not talking rats and cockroaches, but we are talking like, eek, how did it get this messy and just full of junk that I did not need to be kept? So, and like I said, at this point, a lot of it isn't even my junk. So I want to get rid of that and then downsize my own belongings. My son, I want to say, did a really great job in his own room last week and reorganized, and the amount of actual garbage bags of stuff that came out that were garbage, at least in his opinion. I didn't look in the bags. He's 17. I trust that he knows what needed to be thrown out. It was amazing because he has, I think it's a teenager thing. He opted for a smaller bedroom, but it's the only one that's on the first floor. So it's like you got that privacy factor of you're not in the bedroom right next to your mom. Instead he moved a few years ago. He moved downstairs and opted for the smaller bedroom, but it's the only bedroom that's downstairs. So it's like his privacy clearly was more important than the size of the room. But last week he did a fantastic job, completely cleaned out, reorganized his room, and I gave him the TV that was in my room, which I don't really believe in watching TV in bed. If you're someone who has trouble sleeping, it's not a good thing to do. So my 53-inch TV became his new monitor for his computer, which I think that motivated him to clean his room so that he could have his dresser cleared off and have the space to put the TV. And that just got him started, and he cleaned the whole room and reorganized, rearranged his furniture, everything. He did a super job. So he's helping motivate me by seeing what a good job he did. And so I'm going to start working on those things, and I'm going to let you know how I'm doing with them. And right now, I'm going to try to take a nap for an hour before I have to get up and get ready to go to the mechanic and probably sit there all day. Anyway, thank you for watching, and wish me luck. And if you've had good luck with a particular sort of mindset or goal setting plan, as far as decluttering yourself, by all means, let me know, share, and have a great day. And I will hopefully be giving you some positive updates on this as I make some progress in a short time period. Thanks for watching.